Happy conspiracy theory. I did not mean to hit the live button yet. I was putting it in the damn tripod. Oh my gosh. Right? Right. Here we go. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. That's okay. It'll give people some time to come in here since I am quite early. I am. Do I have the right glasses on? Yes, I do. Okay. Oh, dang. I haven't looked at it yet, Jen. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll look at it as soon as we're done. I promise. Dang it. I hit the live button too quickly.
You started early.
I know. I was putting it in the tripod and I hit the live button by accident.
Jeez.
And I went live. And Jen's here. She's the first one. She's our first conspiracy theorist for tonight. No, I'm sorry. I was running around like a banshee. I'm sorry. I'll go look at it as soon as we're done. I trust you. I trust you that you got it on. Did you see the thumbnail? Jen says hi.
Hello.
Can you hear? Obviously, you can hear me, okay? Because you're talking to Chewy. You're talking to Chewy. Okay, let's get some conspiracy theorists in here. Come on, come on. Oh. Listen, Max Velocity is live right now. We got tornado warnings and watches all around us right now. So if I disappear, it's not the CIA. It's not. It's the weather. So we'll see how it goes. Fran, hi. How are you? How are you, Fran? Fran. How are you? Jen's here. She was my sound check girl tonight, Fran, but she did a good job. Cindy! Yay! Cindy's here. We're so glad you're here, Cindy. Did you see the thumbnail? My mom's gonna be thrilled. She's gonna be thrilled. We'll give it a couple more seconds, a few more minutes because I was early by accident. I was early by accident. Right? I know, right? We'll see if my mom pops in. If she sees the thumbnail, she'll be here. You bet your buttons she will. Buttons? You bet your bippy she will. Okay, so I added to my conspiracy visor, right? See the eyes? See the googly eyes? Crazy eyes. Crazy eyes! So that's my addition to my conspiracy theory visor. It certainly is. And we are casual loungy tonight. So up for conspiracy theory circle time outfit in the beginning here. So as you can see, I have my conspiracy vest on because we have to protect ourselves from any conspiracy theory radiation, right? And this is the way to do it. So this is Time and True. This is from Walmart. I got it a couple of years ago. It's just absolutely fabulous. And I knew there was a reason for me to buy it. I knew there was a reason that I needed to buy it. So I have on a long sleeve. Ah, my sister's here. Hi, Jibby. I have on a long sleeve white t-shirt from Sam's. I have on my Cuddle Duds black fuzzy leggings because I'm freezing cold, and I have on my Uggs. And that was contortion right there. That was contortion. I know, I know, right? Let's see. Let's see if mom sees it, because if she sees it, she'll be in here. She'll be in here like shot. She certainly will. So here we are, friends. Here we are. And there is Honey. There is Honey. Hi, Honey. Welcome to Conspiracy Theory Circle Time. Did I mess up my hat? My visor? My conspiracy theory visor? Okay, friends, here we go. It is June 26th, 2024. It certainly is. Thank you, honey. I'm nice and cozy because I'm a little bit cold. So I wanted to be a little snug. So I put on my Cuddle Dud leggings because it's cold. And my Tootsies are cold, but I can't turn on the Duraflame heater because of Jolly Boy, right? He's too little to have the heater on. So I'm just going to have to bear with it, right? I'm going to have to bear with it. And Chewy just made me some fabulous green tea that is nice and warm. Yes, that is my parents in the thumbnail. It certainly is. So when they were up here, I had to get those colanders on their heads, honey, and take some thumbnail pictures. I did. So anyway, and Jen sent me a picture, and I didn't get to see it yet. But as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna hop, skip, and jump over to Instagram so I can see her. With her tinfoil hat. She promised me a picture, and apparently it's waiting for me on Instagram. But I'm just too bejangled. So anyway, here we are. We are at the end of June, and we are doing Conspiracy Theory Circle Time tonight here at Lilleybugglane. For those of you that are here visiting, we welcome you to Lilleybugglane. I am Lala, and for our OGs, you know the rules. You certainly do. Hi, Francine. Hi, Lori. Welcome to Lilleybugglane. So nice to see you. I hope everybody's ready, because this is going to take your participation tonight too, because we're all going to take a trip into the way back machine. We are, and we're going to have to pull things from our memories and participate tonight in conspiracy theory. You're welcome, Lori. We hope you enjoy your visit here. We certainly do. Okay, friends, here we go. Now, in Conspiracy Theory Circle Time, we do things differently. So there's things that we do and there's things that we don't do. But guess what? We're going to do mint time. We're going to do conspiracy theory mint time at Lilleybugglane. We certainly are. It is mint time! Conspiracy theory mint time! Here at Lilleybugglane, you have your choice. You have your OG wintergreens, you have your spicy cinnamon mints, and you have your burst of sunshine orange mints. You do. So if you had a lot of garlic for dinner, take one, take two, or take all three. We always pass to the right, as per Emily Post and Mrs. Pfeiffer, my charm school teacher, right? Because we always want to do proper etiquette at Lilleybugglane. Enjoy your mints. Okay, friends, here we go. Now, I just want to give you a little lesson, okay? Let's do a little lesson. The term conspiracy theorist was coined in 1964. And the reason for the coining of the term was because after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, there was the Warren Commission. And there were a lot of whispers. About what had really happened. And the CIA didn't want anybody to ask any questions, right? They just wanted everybody to accept the narrative that was being put out into the public. So the CIA came up with the term conspiracy theorist. And a conspiracy theorist was anyone who questioned the official narrative, right, of the JFK assassination. That is how the term conspiracy theorist came to be, right? So now we come forward in time, right? And today, conspiracy theorists means basically the same thing. Anyone that questions the official narrative, right? Or anyone that goes against the official narrative, right? Now, when you call somebody a conspiracy theorist, right, it plays on their emotions, right? Because you don't want to be a standout. You don't want to be a rebel. You don't want to be a wave maker, do you? No. You just want to sit quietly in your seat and you want to not make a peep, not make any waves, just go along with the crowd, right? Wrong, 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 wrong. You always want to ask questions. Always ask questions. Always be a conspiracy theorist because guess why? Guess why? Because in 6 weeks, you end up being right. You certainly do. So be a conspiracy theorist. And plus, conspiracy theories are fun. So here we go. Back in the day, and we're going to go, I don't know how far back we're going to go, but we're going to go back in the day. When the always ask questions, and my sister wants a spicy cinnamon mint. Okay. When the miners went into the mines, it was dangerous. It was dangerous for them to go into the mines. Could you imagine going into those mines? Pitch black. Pitch black. Ugh. Wet, drippy wet. Exactly, Jen. Exactly. Make sure everybody is on live chat. Go up to the top of your chat box where it says top chat. Press on that. You'll see it drop down to say live chat. Press on live chat because you don't want to miss anybody's comments and conversation. Okay? So let's all make sure we're on live chat. Live conspiracy chat. Okay? Susan, hi! Okay, Susan's here. Now we're ready to start. So the miners, it was very dangerous for them to go into the mines, right? Very, very dangerous. So what they would do is they would get a canary, a bird, a canary, and they would put it in a little cage and they would carry the canary into the mines with them. Now, the thing about canaries is they like to sing, right? They like to sing. They like to sing their songs, right? That's my impression of a canary, okay? So they would take the canary into the coal mine with them in the little cage, right? And the canary would sing in the coal mine and keep the coal miners company, right? But if the canary stopped singing its song, right? The miners knew, danger, 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 something is not right. You need to leave, miners, because the canary has stopped singing in the coal mine, right? Right. Also, they would send canaries flying into the coal mine sometimes, right? Because you could train a canary to fly in, and then there would be a coal miner outside the opening of the mine, and he would go, and the canary would fly back out to the miners, okay? And they knew it was safe to proceed into the mine because the gases would build up in the mines, right? So if the canary didn't come back, they knew there was danger in the coal mine. They did. Now, you know, I gotta connect the conspiracy with the Little House on the Prairie. I do. And I see you rolling your eyes. I do. So back in the pioneer days, I know, back in the pioneer days, they had to dig wells by themselves with a shovel, okay? Think about if you could dig a well. Think about if your best boy could dig a well. Think about that. By hand. Okay, with a shovel, not like by hand, but by hand. Okay, so the pioneers, whenever they moved, pioneering places, right, they would have to dig a well because sometimes they were miles and miles and miles away from water. So they would dig and they would dig and they would dig, and they'd have to take breaks overnight, right? Because sometimes you didn't hit water till you were at least like 12 or 15 feet down. So before they went down into the well that they were digging, they would send a candle down the well, okay? They would. If the candle stayed lit, it was safe for the pioneer to go down into the well and continue to dig. If the candle went out, then he had to throw some gunpowder down there, because that meant there was gases built up down there, and he had to release the gases. And that's how they released the gases, was they threw gunpowder down the wells, and it would ignite the gases, and it would be safe for them to go back in. So here is our conspiracy theory subject for tonight: canaries in the coal mine. We are going to talk about Happy 160 feet deep. Holy shit, I would not want to dig that well. Not at all. Canaries in the coal mine. I want everybody to think back, okay? And I want you to throw out for our discussion things that you saw in the past that should have given us indications of what would happen in the future, and not in a good way, right? So let me start us off, shall I? I shall. I shall. My first example: Audible books. Canary in a coal mine. Audible books. I'm going to tell you why. Because it discourages reading words. It also delays children learning to read words. You don't have to read anything with your eyes when you listen to it with your ears, right? So it discourages traditional old school reading with a book in your hand with words on the pages that you have to look at, your brain has to process and understand, and then you are reading. So Audible books, okay? That is not reading. That is not reading, okay? Audible books, canary in a coal mine. It is a way to dumb our society down by encouraging not learning to read. Why should I read when I can just listen to the book? Why should I even read? Okay? Oh, that's okay, Kelly. That's okay. You're fine. We just started. Canaries in a coal mine. Now let's think about it like this too. Death by 1,000 cuts. That's another way to think about it too, right? Or how about the frog in the pot that's slowly boiling and doesn't realize that the water is getting hotter and hotter and hotter because the increments of heat are getting turned up just so slightly that the frog adjusts to the heat of the water slowly, right? As the heat increases in the pot, right? So nobody realizes what's going on until the water's at a full boil and it's too late to jump out because the frog has been boiled to death. Yes, trophies for participation. And I can tell you when that started in the mid-90s when Bunny was little. Remember when I told you that I spoke up about something and I got just attacked? That was the topic. That was the topic. My sister also said Velcro shoes. That is absolutely right. Velcro shoes discourage learning to tie your shoes. Certainly does. And Velcro shoes, let me tell you something. Velcro shoes were originally made, right, for the physically handicapped people, right? So that they were able, because of the dexterity, they might not have dexterity in their fingers. They might not even have fingers, right? so they could use their feet to do the Velcro if they were adept at doing that kind of stuff. Digital watches. You can't tell time on an analog clock, but you can sure read those damn numbers on the digital clocks, right? Right. What about emojis? What about emojis? Right? Now, I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. My friends text me, my friends email me, and I'll send emojis. I'm an emoji speaker. Print instead of cursive. How many, let me ask you this. Say that you have 100 high school graduates, okay? And you ask them for their signature. Of those 100 high school graduates, what is the percentage of them that will do a signature? What is the percentage? Let me know. Type it in. Now, you got to think about this first, right? Well, that might be true, Mom, but I wouldn't say it would just be for the private school, because the private schools, you know, they're now not even better. Here's something you got to think about. None of them, right, Lori? Right. They don't teach cursive anymore. Now, somebody's going to say, oh, but they teach cursive in our school. They certainly do. Do they really? Because I had cursive till 12th grade. I certainly did. I learned the Palmer method, and I know a lot of you did too. I know you remember sitting there in those fabulous school desks, and the teacher stood up at the green board, green or black, right? Real, not a whiteboard or anything like that. And she did those fabulous lines across the chalkboard, right? And she stood up there in her beautiful skirt and her beautiful blouse and her nice little pumps, and she did the rockers and she did the loops. Remember that? That's the Palmer method, and that's how we all learned. But they don't teach cursive anymore. They don't. Why don't they teach cursive anymore? What don't they want the society to be able to read that is only written and was only written in cursive? Our founding documents. Go look at our founding documents, all written in cursive, because that's all they wrote back then. They didn't print. They only wrote in cursive. And if you don't teach cursive, people can't read cursive. Right? I know. Right? Now, here's something else that was a canary in a coal mine. I'm going to throw it out there. I talked it over with Chewy. He said, Lala, you got to be careful about this. You got to be careful. Right. This was a canary in a coal mine. Feminism. Canary in a coal mine. Feminism was the biggest lie ever told to women in society. Feminism. It was a total lie. Gloria Steinem had a sugar daddy that she went home to every night. She did. And let me tell you something. There were more women that were against feminism than there were women that were for feminism. Just like with the suffragettes, and I'm going to go way back, okay? Absolutely right, Francine. Absolutely right. Now, here's the deal, okay? Our government, we don't want to think about that kind of stuff, do we? We want to think that our government cares for us, right? That's what we want to think. Because that's what governments are supposed to do, right? For their citizens. For decades and decades and decades and decades, our government has actively dumbed us down, made us sick, and made us weak. Yes. 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 Let me tell you something. When Hillary Clinton said it takes a village, let me tell you something. That I thought to myself, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I know people in the village. I don't want them raising my children. No, 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 no. 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 Now, there are cultures, right? The tribes over in Africa. And, there are ancient cultures where the tribe did take care of all the children in the tribe, right? That was their culture. They revered the children because the children were the future of the tribe, right? But when Hillary Clinton said, it takes a village, right? She was foreshadowing that the government was going to be raising your children. It was going to be the government's job, right? To raise your children. Parents weren't going to have the right to raise their children. It was the government's right to raise the children. She said that. And let me tell you something else too. Her husband, that little hound dog, okay? He's the one that signed the Child Act bill thing where it took away, CPS was then allowed to go in without a warrant and take children out of the homes. He signed that bill because prior to that, CPS had to have a warrant to come in and remove children from their homes in cases of abuse, neglect, things like that. Bill Clinton signed that act. And that is when it skyrocketed, children being removed from the homes. Yes, that is true. That is true. So it takes a village, right? But feminism, right? Feminism made women miserable. And women are still miserable today because they believe the lie of feminism, right? That is a lie. It is a lie. There's first wave feminism, there's second wave feminism, there's third wave feminism. I think we're on fourth wave feminism now, and I don't even know what the damn waves are, but obviously somebody wasn't paying attention to the swells in the water, right? Right. Right. To me, right? To me, okay? If you want to go out and work when your children are in school, then you go out and work when your children are in school. If you want to go out and work when your children graduate from high school, then you go out and work when your kids graduate from high school, right? Right. But it is so important that you are in your home when your children are there because they need us, right? Now, circumstances may be beyond your control, right? So it may not be possible for you. Hi, Anna Marie. Hi. It may not be possible for you to do that, right? And that's okay. Okay? But it's not feminism for a working woman to poo-poo on a stay-at-home woman. That's not feminism at all. Hi, Dad. You got your head. You got your colander on. So feminism to me is a canary in a coal mine. It broke up. It eroded the family. It eroded women's choices. I think it eroded women's choices. I certainly do. It made women feel that they had to be masculine when we are not to be masculine. Yes, Lori. Yes, it confused, it's just confusing. The whole thing is just confusing. But to me, feminism, a canary in a coal mine. And you all know, because I have said this before, okay? Chewy and I have a traditional marriage, okay? Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that and you know this to be the fact. I'm not saying I'm some meek little wife that sits in the corner waiting for him to snap his fingers and tell me what kind of sandwich he wants to make. That's not what I'm talking about traditional. What I'm talking about of traditional is that he is the provider for this family. That is his job. Okay? My job is to make the home, okay? And to make sure that everything runs smoothly in the home so he can go out without any worries in his mind that things are chaotic here, and he can go out into the world and do what men are supposed to do, which is provide for their families. He has his role in our household. I have my role in our household. We are a team. We make decisions together. We sit at the table every night and eat dinner together as a family or a couple. You see what I'm saying? So it's that kind of traditional. He takes care of the outside, I take care of the inside. That kind of traditional stuff. Now, if that is not Linda, you snuck in on me. If that's not the kind of traditional marriage that you have, that's all well and good. Okay? That's all well and good. But to me, feminism made women miserable in their lives because they thought, I'm missing out on this. Let me tell you something. I hear women say, I am not going to stay home and be a slave to my husband. No, 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 no. No, no. But you'll go out and be a slave to another man, won't you? Who isn't your husband. You'll go out and work and let him tell you what to do, right? You'll let your boss tell you what to do, right? But you won't stay home and be a slave or be a submissive little missus to your husband, will you? And your husband loves you and your boss doesn't, right? So there you go. So we're going to say feminism, right? We're going to say feminism. Now, here's another thing that I think, right, honey? Right? How many women have you heard say, oh my God, I am not going to stay home and be a slave to my husband. He is not going to tell me what to do. No, 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 no. Right? But they go off to jobs and work for a man 95% of the time who could give two shits about them, right? And the man that you work for says jump and you say how high, right? So you'll jump how high for a man that is paying you what you're worth, right? But you don't want to stay home and be a slave for your husband. And I'm using slave as like submissive, taking care of the inside of the home, making the dinner, doing the laundry, cleaning the house, taking care of the children, that kind of a thing. So think about that. Right? Think about that. So anyway, so feminism, canary in a coal mine. That's one for me. That is one for me. It certainly is. It certainly is. Anybody else? Throw something out there. Let's discuss. Exactly, Happy. Exactly. Now, I'm going to tell you something, okay? When Bunny was little, I stayed home for the first 5 years with him. When he went to kindergarten, Chewy told me, he said, why don't you go back to school? Okay, go back to school. I went to nursing school while Bunny was in school, right? And I was home when he was home. Right? That's how it worked. when and I worked when Bunny was little, but I did in-home work. Okay? I babysat other women's children after school because they were at work. Okay? I took in ironing from the other military guys because they didn't have women that would iron their uniforms. So I took in ironing and I ironed soldiers' uniforms for money. Right? So I worked inside the home when Bunny was little. And then when he went to school, I went back to school, right? To nursing school while he was in school. But I was always home when he was home. And that's what Chewy asked me to do. Right? When the children are at home, the mothers need to be at home. Electric cars. Well, let me tell you something right now. We all know, yes, I did, Mom. Yes, I did. We all know what the electric cars are for, right? We all know why they want everything to be electric, right? So that they can control our movements, right? And they can shut the electric down, right? You've heard about these kill switches in the cars, right? And I just heard that wackadoo Gavin Newsom is talking about some kind of governor in a car. Yes, they are. Yes, they do, Anna Marie. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you know what's such a shame? This is such a shame. Is a woman has a baby, right? And she leaves the baby with the grandma so she can go to work when the baby's like a month old. And I appreciate the fact that it's the grandma taking care and not like a daycare or something like that. Jen, I couldn't agree more. Get those damn men off the video games and stop them being Mr. Mom. Right? Right. Because if you watch the movie Mr. Mom, Terry Garr ends up saying, I hate going to work. I want to beg, and they switch back roles, right? At the end of Mr. Mom. So the electric cars. So let me tell you something about this wackadoo governor, okay? Gavin Newsom. He wants to put a governor in the cars so that if the car exceeds the speed limit, it starts beeping. It starts like beeping, like loudly beeping. And he wants to start charging 30 cents a mile tax for gasoline cars. Yes, Karen. Yes. Yes, honey. Yes. Yes. And let me tell you something. What do you think electric cars run on? What do you think they run on? I mean, seriously? You need a battery and you need coal. Coal! They run on soy sauce. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, so here's another thing too, that I think was a canary in a coal mine. Okay. In the 1940s, well, I wouldn't want to plug them in if they were in a puddle. Have you seen the pictures of the Tesla? Yeah. Have you seen the picture of the Tesla lot where all the charging stations are? And the water is like right up to the top of the charging station. So they're all underwater. I mean, really? Really? Pro oil. Pro oil. Right. 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 I think it's 18 to 24, Mom, is what they're saying. And believe you me, had Hillary Clinton become president instead of Donald Trump, you would already have that. We would have already had that. We certainly would have. So anyway, in the 1940s, here's another thing that I think that they've done that caused yes, Anna Marie. Joe Obama is talking about it. Yeah. Here's another thing. In the 1940s, they changed the megahertz of the music that was being recorded. And I think this is my conspiracy theory because do you think that people back in the day had as much trouble sleeping as people do presently? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Right. Right. I don't think people sleep as well as they used to. I don't. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. Okay? Because I think people, exactly, Karen, I think people go to bed with their phones listening to these ridiculous adult bedtime stories, which is just the infantilization of adults, really, because my parents never needed a bedtime story to go to bed. They certainly didn't. Exactly, honey. Exactly. Exactly. And guess what? Guess what they're finding out? Melatonin is a sleep disruptor. And it's also addictive. Yes, I think the music, this sleep music that you can go to sleep to, and this beta wave music that you heard it too, Karen. Yeah, it's just coming out. It is just coming out that the melatonin is a sleep disruptor and that it is addictive. Right, right, right. So, you've got these things that were introduced to us, right, as good things, soothing things, right? Right? You didn't get a bedtime story read to you as a child, but guess what? You can get one read to you as an adult and go back in time and pretend that, you're getting a bedtime story read to you as a child. You're a damn grown-up. Shut your eyes and go to bed. Right? So there's and it was introduced to us, calm your mind. Calm your mind. Close your eyes. That kind of a thing. Right? Why are our teeth so bad? I don't think that they had as bad of teeth back in the day as we had. Now, yeah, now, come on now. I know George Washington supposedly had wooden teeth, right? I know gummies, gummies, gummies. Here's the thing. You gotta think to yourselves, right? You gotta think to yourselves. I'm gonna tell you something, okay? We're all over the place with this conspiracy theory, so just throw it out there. Exactly. 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 Okay. We lived on Long Island in 2000 and 2001. Okay. I watched children That's one of the things. Yeah. Yep. Happy. Yep. And don't sleep with your phone on next to you on the pillow or on your chest, right? I mean, what the hell are you doing with this, with the battery emissions that are coming off your phone? Putting it on your chest at night? Are you crazy? Or putting it next to your head? I mean, your brain's right there. Right? Okay, so let me just tell you this. So I watched children, right? You don't, honey? Oh my gosh, that's fabulous. That is wonderful. That is wonderful, honey. That is wonderful. I think that's wonderful. Do you know, I watched 3 children when we lived on Long Island, New York. Okay? All right, 3 children. In, I believe it was 1999, albuterol was approved for children. Okay, just exactly, Kelly, exactly. And I'm gonna say something. Albuterol was approved for children, right? All of a sudden, I noticed all these kids were walking around with these cherry cheeks, like little toy soldiers. You know the little toy soldiers that have the cherry cheeks, right? And 2 of the little children that I watched had cherry cheeks. Well, I realized all these kids all of a sudden were being diagnosed with asthma and being put on albuterol, and that was the tell, was that they had the little soldier cheeks, right? But the albuterol became approved for children, and lo and behold, there you go. And you want to know why? The Hep B, which is absolutely effing ridiculous that a newborn baby should get Hep B, because the only way hepatitis B is transmitted is from IV drug use and sex. That's the only 2 ways hepatitis B is transmitted. So you tell me what newborn baby is going to shoot dope up or have sex. No newborn baby that I know. But when they took the thalidomide out of the Hep B shot, right? When they removed the thalidomide out of the shots, Hep B became able to be a childhood vaccine. That's why they started giving newborns the Hep B. Just letting you know, as soon as they took the thalidomide out of the shots, right? Because they thought it was one of the things that was causing autism, right? All the shots became available for children. And Hep B was the first one that they did. And there's only 2 ways that you can contract hepatitis B, and I told you what they were. There you go. Okay. Who said it? Who said it? Kelly. Here's another thing. Here's another conspiracy theory that I think. Okay. What they have done through the years is they have taken the things out of products that actually protected us, right? Now, they may have been chemicals. They may have been chemicals, but they were chemicals that were used to protect us, right? And when they took the chemicals out, right. Do you know that children in Japan are not immunized for the first 2 years of their life? Do you know that? That's the truth. Little babies in Japan, they don't get any shots for the first 2 years of their life. How wonderful is that? How wonderful is that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think they took some of the chemicals out of things that actually were protecting us, right? Under the guise that they were bad for us. And then we still use the product minus the ingredients that were actually protecting us. And they were done under the guise of, well, we're going to take out these toxins and we're going to take this out and we're going to take that out. But then it opened us up for other things, right? Just like Kelly said, the Lyme disease. Who the hell heard of Lyme disease? Until they started taking the DEET out. Let's talk about skin cancer. Okay, let's talk about that. Go back to the 70s. Go back to the 60s. Go back to the 50s. Go back to the 80s. Skin cancer wasn't really a thing. And then the SPF got put into, exactly, Anna Marie. Then the SPF got put into the suntan lotion. Right? Skin cancers went up. Now, I'm not saying that there was never cancer. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there was never cancer. I'm not saying that there was ever rotten teeth. I'm not saying that there were never people that could read. I'm not saying that there were never people that could tie their shoes. I'm not saying that there were never dyslexics, right? I'm not saying that there were ever people that weren't mentally deficient, okay? But you show me a 75-year-old autistic person. They don't exist. Show me a 65-year-old autistic person. They don't exist. The brain cancers that children are getting, these rare brain cancers that little children are getting, how the hell is that happening? Right? The weird cancers that we're all getting, how the hell is that happening? We are supposed to be the smartest version of human that there is right now, our society, right? Yet we are the sickest, we are the fattest, we are the weakest. I mean, you know, we are so doped up. We are so physically weak, mentally weak. You know, you've got kids that are in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade that can't read. You've got kids graduating that can't read. You've got adults that have menu anxiety and can't order a menu. Here's another one I'm going to throw out at you, okay? Yes, here's another one, okay? I'm going to give you another canary in a coal mine. Okay, I'm going to give you another canary in a coal mine. Grocery pickup and grocery delivery. Canary in a coal mine. Now, here's the conspiracy, right? Is you want to keep people contained. Yes, I do. I do, Kelly. I do. But see, here's the deal. I think there's a cure for a lot of things. And I think it starts with an I, and I think it starts with an H. Right? Cheap, cheap, cheap. And it's the Sunday candy that they all take every Sunday night over in Africa. Stella Emanuel told me that secret. She certainly did. What about the Zika? What about the Zika virus? With all those mosquitoes, don't you find it so odd that it was in Brazil and that all these pregnant women got the Zika, right? And all of their children were born with hydrocephaly. Don't you find that odd? And then isn't it interesting that Bill Gates, right, was studying these mosquitoes that had been genetically altered, right? And you've got all these people down in Brazil that get the Zika, right? And now you've got a whole generation of children that have hydrocephaly, which is water on the brain, for those of you that don't know. So you see how you look back in time, right? You see how you look back in time, and you can see things that happened, right? You can see things that happened. And you look back and you think, wow, I should have realized. Like the crazy man standing on the corner telling us that our government was trying to kill us. But we all thought he was a crazy loon who drank a fifth behind the 7-Eleven at night. Well, he was smarter than all of us because he's standing there with a damn colander on his head, right? Because he's saying that the government is sending frequencies and he has to block them. And now you've got the deaf people with the cochlear implants, and now you've got the Wi-Fi hearing aids. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not wearing hearing aids that are connected to Wi-Fi, because what can be subliminally brought into those hearing aids, or they could change the frequency of the hearing aid so that you can't even hear the sound, and it starts making different pathways into your brain. And remember I told you that I fell into the rabbit hole of the Scientology? Well, let me tell you something. The one video that I watched, he talked about the MK Ultra and the mind control and the light hypnosis processes that they did in those things. They do them in Scientology. They do. That's how they get people in. They do. You know, but you got to look at this stuff, right? You got to look at this stuff. I mean, if cancer was cured, Kelly, if cancer was cured, what would all the oncologists do? What would all the chemotechs do? What would all the mammographers do? Right? Sit there with their thumbs up their asses waiting for somebody to come down with cancer? You know what I mean? So it is not profitable to cure cancer. It's not. I mean, I remember when I was in school, I remember kids getting held back because they couldn't read good enough, or, you know, they didn't know their math good enough. You know what I mean? Well, let me tell you something. You are not allowed to fail a student today. You are not allowed. They will graduate a student that is completely illiterate. They will. Oh, really happy. Well, that wasn't a very good. That's not very good. I don't mean to laugh, Happy, but no, you're not. You're not. And that's why I say the red pen. I knew. Yes. I knew when let me tell you something. I knew when I heard that they weren't allowed to use red pens anymore in school. I knew that it was a problem. I knew because it caused trauma. It caused this. This scared the children. This made the children feel worthless. This made the children feel not good enough. That's what it did. And when the teachers were not allowed to do X's anymore, when you got something wrong, you had to circle it because X is bad. X is bad. Yeah, it makes the kids feel bad. Hello, Anna Marie. I know. It's a bunch of craziness, friends. It's a bunch of craziness. Right? It's a bunch of craziness. And I spoke up. I spoke up when I saw something that I thought was so bizarre. I thought, why in the world are you doing this? This is not what the goal is of the sports. This is not what it is. I didn't sign my kid up for this. Why is this happening? Right? And I was attacked like you would not believe. Okay? Oh, Anna Marie. Oh my God, Anna Marie. That's pull-ups. That's pull-ups. That is a canary in a coal mine. The pull-ups were a canary in a coal mine. Right? Because you're not forcing the child to learn to use the toilet. Right? You're not. You're not. That's just like people that let their dog shit in their house on puppy pads. Shit and piss in their house on puppy pads. You have humanized that animal to the point where you have taken away their primal instinct to go shit and piss outside. Right? Canary in a coal mine. You are humanizing an animal to the point where you're letting them shit and piss on a puppy pad in your house or just on your floor, instead of letting them be who they are, the dogs, or, indoor, outdoor cats or whatever. I mean, there's that kind of a thing too. Oh, right? Right. Well, what you're doing, Karen, is you're what would you call it? You're adultifying the children and infantilizing the adults. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And if you at all know the history of the fall of the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, any empire that fell, okay, one of the things that they did was go after the children, right, and switch the roles for children and adults, right? That's what they did, amongst many other things. But that was one of the things that they did is, you put kids into adult situations, right, to desensitize them, right? Because there are certain situations that children should not be in. There are certain things children shouldn't see. There are certain things that children shouldn't hear, right? Because they're children, right? I'll tell you a story. When Louise was young, we would have friends come over, right? Friends of mine who had children who played with Louise, right? Well, my rule is I am not a contemporary to a 6-year-old child. So you need to go play with the children and let the adults talk, right? Because this is an A, B, C conversation. I'm A, she's B, see you later because you're a kid. I am not going to visit with my adult contemporary friends and have their children like little fruit flies right in the conversation, right? Because they're children. They're children. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid and my sister was a kid and my parents would go to their friend's house, because the families would get together, all the kids got sent down to the basement with a huge bag of greasy cheese puffs and sodas, right? Fantas or Shastas. And we got sent down to the basement to watch television or play games, ping pong. And all the adults were upstairs with all the good snacks and the good sodas. And they were playing cards and they were listening to music and they were dancing. And let me tell you something. Our asses better not come up those steps. Our asses better not come up those steps. Because we were children. We were children. Right? So, the conspiracy tonight was canaries in a coal mine. Things that have happened over the decades and over the years that were warning signs to us all, right? And we were too comfortable, or we benefited from these canaries in a coal mine, or we just weren't paying attention to them, or we said something and we were pounded down so hard that we just walked away from it. Right? And I think those canaries that stopped singing in the coal mines as we were moving through the decades are what we are seeing today, the results of what we are seeing today. And I'm not telling you to scream it from the rooftops. I'm not telling you to make waves if that is not who you are. Right? But we can live our lives in the right way, okay? By teaching our children or our grands to sign their name with a signature, to teach them how to tell time on an analog clock, to teach them how to count money, real money, right? To sit down at a table for dinner every night, even if it's you and your mother, even if it's you and your husband, if it's you and your, 2 grandchildren, sit at the table and eat dinner together every night. Right? When you're going out somewhere, don't look like you just rolled out of bed. Don't do that. That's the slopification of America, like Anna Marie mentioned. Right. I know, honey. We could go on forever with this, couldn't we? We could. But I do believe that there were warning signs through the years, and we all saw them. We did. We all saw them. And I know some of us were probably very upset about them and tried to say something. I know, because I know some of us are people that can just not roll over and, you know, be okay with things, you know. And we grew up, you know, you have to think to yourself, you know, like, you know, most of us were raised by baby boomers, right? We were raised by baby boomers. And then the baby boomers were raised by the Depression era people. You know what I'm saying? So there's, you know, there's that kind of a thing. And, you know, I think that there was a cultural revolution that happened in the 60s, and I think it just got tamped down. You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of there was an undercurrent of it as time went on. And it was just so subtle, right? It was just so subtle. But I think there has been a concerted effort over many, many decades by our government officials, right, to weaken the society as a whole, and probably worldwide to weaken us as human beings. We have never been sicker. We have never been dumber. We have never been, you know, as mentally ill as any other time. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how that can be. You know? So, that is our conspiracy theory discussion for tonight. The canaries in the coal mine. The death by 1,000 cuts. Exactly. And I think it started, I mean, if you read like about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, and, you know, even at the founding of our country, you know what I'm saying? England was trying to reach across the pond, right? And still grab on and hold, right? Right, 1913. I think it was before that too, Karen. I think it was before that, you know. I think it was before that. You know, I mean, in the Little House on the Prairie books, let's all roll our eyes together. Seriously, Lala? Pa complains about the taxes. And that was in the 1860s, 70s, right around that era. He's complaining about the taxes that he has to pay. So you think about it then. You think about the fact of when, you know, the Rothschilds took over the medical colleges, right? And how that changed. Think about all the permits that we need for everything. Think about all the times we need to show identification for things, but they don't want us to have to show ID to vote, right? You need an ID for everything else, but they don't want you to have an ID to vote, right? You think about the way yeah, I think so, Jen. I mean, there's a lot of books that I read that, you know, and I read a lot of Norman Vincent Peale, and just, you know, back in the 60s and stuff, there was faith was hooked on to the medical field. You know what I'm saying? So when you would go into the doctor would ask you, do you pray every day? Do you attend church? That's important. And Norman Vincent Peale said that he and pastors and preachers and ministers and priests were working side by side with medical doctors, you know what I'm saying? Because there was the connection, with the faith and the health of a person that was kind of intertwined together. And he talks about that. Yeah. Yeah. So just be aware, friends, of things that, are happening now. I don't think they're coming out of the clear blue sky. They're not. If we look back, we can see it. We can see it. And, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, right? But it will get better. It will. And as long as we all stick to our values and that our values are very, very clear, right? In our own minds and to those around us, right? And I will not compromise my values to make someone else feel good. I won't do it, right? I will not do it because that is not being true to who I am and what I believe in, right? So that is the way that I choose to protest whatever needs to be protested, or stand up for whatever needs to be stood up for, right? I will not compromise my values and I will not compromise my beliefs to make someone else feel good. That's not my job. Not my job. Not my job. So anyway, friends, there we go. I hope you enjoyed it tonight. I certainly loved interacting with everybody about this. It's not easy today, is it? It's not easy. And our poor littles and our poor grands. I mean, really? This should be the best time for children. This should be the best time for them, right? It just makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me sad for people that are so dependent on other people for solving their problems, right? Because it's easy to just pop a pill, right? That's easy. Doing the work, right? Doing the work to make yourself better, that's the hard thing to do, right? Yes. No, it's not. No, honey. And let me tell you something. If you're not happy with yourself, how are you going to be happy with anybody else? Right? It's not your husband's place to make you feel good. It's not your kid's place to make you feel. It certainly is not your children's place to make you feel good. And shame on you. Shame on you if you put that burden on your child. Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. Shame on any woman, and it's usually the women because of damn feminism, right? It's usually the women who want to use their children as emotional tampons. Think about it. Think about it. Right? Who want their children to fill a void that no child should have to fill in an adult's life. Right? No child should have to be an adult's emotional caregiver. That's disgusting. Find yourself a man or love yourself better. I mean, isn't that the anthem of the summer from Miley Cyrus? I think that's the saddest song I have ever heard. I think it's the saddest song I've ever heard. Okay, there we go. There we go, friends. There we go. That's it. No, at least not that kind of job, right? At least not that kind of job. Good night, Francine. Good night, Karen. So glad you were here. Kelly, thank you so much. Thank your mom for being here too. Listen, Lori, if you're still in here, thank you so much. We loved having you here. We hope you enjoyed your visit. So, for those of you that are still here, our next conspiracy theory circle time, July 17th. July 17th, everybody. Good night, Linda. Fran, are you still here? Lori, thank you so much. I'm so glad you were here. Hope you come back and visit again. I certainly do. Honey, thank you so much. Cindy, I'm glad you're here. Susan, glad you're here. Jen, I'm going to go look at your picture. Write it down on your calendar. Good job, honey. Thank you so much. Listen. I think of you all often. You are never far in my thoughts. I hope you have enjoyed tonight as much as I have, because I certainly have. I have. Are we ready? I think we're ready. Thank you, Happy. Thank you. I'm glad you're here too. I hope you are happy. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. Let's all say it together. Takers Inc. every day, because it is up to us, friends. It is. And I hope you're safe. I certainly do. I'm just all conspiracied out right now, so that wasn't a good clap. Listen, I'll see you Saturday at the sink. I have a hilarious story to tell you on Saturday at the sink. You might see me Friday if I get some goodies at the Goodwill. You might. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. Take really, really good care, and I'll see you Saturday. Good night.